على سيدنا محمد عبدك ورسولك النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحابته والتابعين لهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت الحكيم العليم. اليوم إن شاء الله نتكلم عن بعض أمراض القلوب، وهذه هي وظيفة الصوفي. وقبل أن نشرع في ذلك أريد أن أبين للناس، وكم بينته في مجالس، أن مصطلحات العلم ما كانت موجودة في زمن الصحابة، ما كان في زمن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم، ولا زمن أبي بكر، ولا زمن عمر، ولا زمن عثمان شيء يقال له النحو مطلقا. وما كان في زمن الجميع حتى إلى زمن مالك وأبي حنيفة ومن بعدهم ما كان فيه علم يقال له علم مصطلح الحديث وعلم الأصول، لا، ما كان هذا موجودا. وما كان في الصدر الأول علما يقال له علم التصوف. فالمصطلحات حدثت بعد انقراض الخلفاء الراشدين غالبا. فمن قال إن اسم التصوف بدعة أو حرام فليقل أن اسم النحوي أو اسم الأصولي أو اسم الحديث مصطلحه وعلم المنطق أو علم البيان حرام، فلا فرق بينهم. فمن قال ذلك فليقل إن الجميع حرام، وليقل إن الجميع بدعة كلها محرم. والعرب يقولون ما لبائك تجر وما لباء لا تجر. الباء واحدة إذا دخلت على باسم أو بزيد أو ببيت أو برجل تجر الكل. فكونها تجر بعض الأسماء ولا تجر الآخر هذا غير معقول. يقال ما لبائك تجر وما لبائك. ما لنا نبدع اسم بعض الأسماء ونسلم بعضها، هذا لا يصح. لكن الضابط أن البدعة تنقسم إلى أقسام فصلها العلماء، فما كان منها موافقا لتلك القواعد الشرعية قبل، وما كان غير موافق لها رد.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه. The Shaykh began by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sending peace and blessings upon the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his family, companions, and all those who follow until the day of judgment. The Shaykh said that today, inshallah, we're going to be speaking about the diseases of the heart. And the disease of the heart is the endeavor and the affair that the Sufis are concerned with. And before we start speaking about this subject, the Shaykh wanted to make clear something which he said he's mentioned many times in his lessons, and he's going to repeat it, which is that the terminology which we use to describe the different sciences in Islam did not exist in the time of the Messenger of Allah, nor in the time of Sayyidina Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Sayyidina Ali, the Khulafa al-Rashidin. The terminology did not exist in their time. In their time, there was no such thing as Nahu, the science of Arabic grammar. All the way to the end of the rulership of Sayyidina Imam Ali radiallahu anhu, there was no such thing that people would call Nahu as a science, as a term that they would call it. This is Nahu, Arabic grammar. And for other sciences, like Mustalah al-Hadith, the science of terminology specifically used in Hadith, that science and also other sciences like Usul al-Fiqh, the foundations of legal methodology. These sciences, they were not given their names. There was no one specifically calling these sciences by these names. All the way well past the time of the Khulafa al-Rashidin, all the way up until the time of Sayyidina Imam Malik and Sayyidina Imam Abu Hanifa, they did not have any term which they called this is the science of Mustalah al-Hadith, Hadith terminology. Nor this is the science of Usul al-Fiqh, the science of, these were fuqaha, the great fuqaha, Imam Malik, Imam Abu Hanifa, but they didn't have a term that they called Usul al-Fiqh. Okay? So the point the Shaykh is making is, these ulum, the Sahaba, they had all of these ulum, they didn't have it with these names. They had Nahu, they had Arabic grammar to its perfection, but they did not have a codified science which they called Nahu. And they had Usul al-Fiqh, and they had Mustalah, and they had all
هذا بالطبيعة. وغيره كان له سليقة مثل الذي للعرب من خليقة. وغير هذه العصور الأخيرة كانت هذه المصطلحات لا يحتاجون إلى ضوابط. لأن هذا كان من طباعهم كما أن العرب كان هذا موجودا في طبائعهم.
And so, because the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they used to speak the Arabic language perfectly naturally, coming from their nature. They didn't need anyone to come and tell them, this is the grammar of the sentence you just spoke, this is the morphology of those words, this is the rhetorical device that you just used, and all these things. All of that they had in their language, and also the sciences from the Quran that they learned, that they took from the Messenger of Allah. They had all of that naturally, without having it in a codified form, without giving it specific names for each of these sciences. But the point is, all of these different sciences were given their names and codified into a systematized way later on, sometimes much later on, sometimes more than 100 years after the Messenger of Allah. That's what the point is shaking. So, now, if you understand that, then if someone is going to call the science of tasawwuf, science of tasawwuf is another science, just like usul al-fiqh, mustalah al-hadith, nahu, and all the other sciences, the Muslims created this science called tasawwuf. And so if someone's going to come and say that tasawwuf is bid'ah, tasawwuf is a blameworthy innovation because it didn't exist at the time of the Messenger of Allah Sahaba, then if they're going to be honest and fair in that, then let them say that nahu, usul al-fiqh, mustalah al-hadith, and all these other ulum are also bid'ah. If they're going to be fair and apply that reasoning fairly, like the Shaykh mentioned, the Arabs, they have a saying, the ba performs a certain grammatical function in the Arabic language, which is jar. It makes the word that comes after it into the grammatical state of jar. And the point about the ba is, any word that comes after it, doesn't matter, any word that comes after the ba is going to go into that state of jar. That's what the ba does. That's its function. You can't say the ba is going to make this word in the state of jar, but it's not going to make it in the state of this word. The Arabs use this as a saying to mean that if you're going to apply a certain reasoning, apply it consistently. So if these people are going to say that the tasawwuf is a bid'ah because it didn't exist at the time of the Messenger of Allah and Sahaba with that name, then let them call the other ulum bid'ah, and they would never do that because there's no Islam without these other ulum.
لكن الضابط عند العلماء أن البدعة تنقسم إلى أقسام. الضابط عند العلماء أن البدعة تنقسم على أقسام توضع على القواعد الشرعية، فما كان منها مقيسا على الواجبات كانت بدعة واجبة، وما كان منها من أنواع المندوبات صار من أنواع المندوبات، وما كان من المباح كان من المباح، وما كان من المحرم كان من المحرم. وكل ما حدث بعد العصور